Tonight, we're learning of changes when it comes to spectators at sporting events. The policy update for Great Falls Public Schools ahead.
Plus, with COVID cases popping up in schools, remote learning more appealing to some. A look at the options straight ahead.
And the show must go on. This weekend's Choke Cherry Festival, a go in Lewistown. From excitement to nerves, how residents and business owners are feeling.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Also tonight, a look at the current shape of the legalized marijuana campaign. Thanks for making the MTN 530 News on KRTV a part of your Friday. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Hallie Schwinnard. First tonight, as teams hit the fields, we're learning of a change to Great Falls Public Schools' Spectator policy.
Now, following the lead of other Eastern AA districts earlier in the week, Great Falls Public Schools will now allow 2 visiting fans per uniformed athlete during competition starting today. The move reverses course from the original plan, which did not permit visiting fans and allowed 4 home fans per athlete in uniform. GFPS Director of Athletics says the change was approved by the Cascade City County Health Department this morning. The same day, the Great Falls CMR football team is scheduled to start its season against Belgrade at Memorial Stadium. That's tonight at 7.
After a few positive COVID-19 cases in the district, some parents are trying to switch their kids to remote learning, but with no luck. Michael Troyer's daughter is a student at Great Falls High School. After 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19 at the high school, Michael says his daughter asked if she could transition to remote learning. When Michael called the school this morning, they said several options were available, but moving his daughter to fully remote learning was not one of them. He tells MTN News that district officials said they were getting a lot of similar requests.
When he told me there was a wait list for going to online. So that tells me that I'm not the first inquiry, and he says the wait list keeps growing and growing every day.
To the district office, and Superintendent Tom Moore says that the enrollment for remote learning was cut off in July so the district could figure out staffing needs. He said that according to state accreditation standards, the district cannot assign more than 150 students to 1 teacher. He also added that there is a wait list for remote learning and they are trying to work with the students on a case-by-case basis to meet their needs.
The campaign over marijuana legalization in Montana is taking shape as a group opposing the legalization initiatives has been launched. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian talked to supporters and opponents of the initiatives about what they're planning for the coming months.
In the November election, Montana voters will consider a pair of linked initiatives that would create a recreational marijuana system in the state. This week, the first official committee opposing those measures announced its campaign against them. The group Wrong for Montana has begun placing billboards around the state, calling for voters to reject I-190 and CI-118. Leaders say their campaign will highlight the negative effects they believe recreational marijuana has had in other states.
All you have to do is go to Colorado for a test site. They've been up and running now for 8 years. And if you look at the traffic accidents, you look at the emergency room, you look at the vagrants that are on the street, you look at the activity in the black market as well as the regular market down there, it has just exploded.
Wrong for Montana has received support from the Montana Family Foundation, Montana Contractors Association, and the national group Smart Approaches to Marijuana. I-190 would create a framework for recreational marijuana in Montana, and CI-118 would let the state limit sales to those 21 and older. Leaders with New Approach Montana, the group that proposed the initiatives, say the opponents are exaggerating the impacts of legalization, and that recreational marijuana could be a valuable source of revenue for the state. They remain confident voters will support the measures.
We know what Montanans think about marijuana because we went out and spoke to them over the last 2 years. We had very close conversations, and so we're very aware of what Montanans want out of this regulation, and it went into the writing of it.
Voters will soon be seeing more advertising in this campaign. New Approach Montana has already spent $2.3 million on TV time, and they plan more spending on digital ads. In addition to its billboards, Wrong for Montana is working on digital ads of its own. Also this week, the Montana Contractors Association announced its endorsement of Congressman Greg Gianforte, the Republican candidate for governor, pointing to his opposition to legalization. Gianforte's campaign says he's voting against I-190, but that the issue is up to voters to decide. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Well, it was in the 80s today. We can expect more of that this weekend. Here's Elizabeth Copeland with the first look at the forecast.
It's a beautiful day across north, central, and northeast Montana, where high pressure has moved in, and that's going to be settling in for the rest of the weekend. Our Opportunity Bank iCam out of Helena right now. Blue skies overhead, barely a cloud in sight, and we're not seeing any precipitation really through the next couple of days as that high pressure continues to take hold of our state. So in the capital city tonight, we go from the 80s this afternoon to the 40s those overnight hours, clear skies. Again, not a cloud in the sky as you wake up tomorrow morning. Not too many worries of freezing temperatures over the next few days as we top out in the 80s through the weekend. A few clouds possible on Sunday afternoon, but that high pressure is going to take hold. Keep that drier air and sunshine in for us all weekend. Now, as we head into the weekend, though, since that warm air from the southwest is moving in, we're also going to see some hazy conditions. So while it may be sunny outside, we'll see some wildfire smoke moving into our state. We talk fluctuating air quality coming up here shortly.
Well, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, you could head down to Lewistown for the annual Chokecherry Festival. Well, the festival could mean a huge boost for businesses. MTN's Coulter Anstad is live at the Lewistown Airport where the weekend's festivities are kicking off. Coulter?
Yeah, Tim, good evening. The band for tonight's jam is warming up on this stage here behind me at the airport. The jam starts at 7 o'clock. Gates here at the airport just opened at 5:30, so people should start rolling in their cars any minute. Now, they'll be able to listen and dance to the live music the band is playing. As for the festival itself, it runs all day tomorrow, and as you mentioned, while it could be a big boost for local businesses, some business owners I spoke to today tell me excitement is not the only thing they're feeling right now ahead of the festival. Inside Country Junction in Lewistown Friday, there was a quiet anticipation.
We're happy that the festival's still going on. We are nervous about many people coming into town and possibly bringing the virus.
The annual Chokecherry Festival typically draws in around 5,000 people. Concerning as that may be, Country Junction owner Kim Shale believes organizers have done everything they can to prepare.
They have done a great job trying to locate sanitizing stations and having food vendors in various places and having some masks available if people don't have any.
I have a pretty good mix of everything.
The owner of the antique store next to Country Junction shares Shale's feeling of both excitement and nervousness.
I just don't really know if I'm supposed to limit the number of people that come in or use the bathrooms, things like that.
She also agrees the town is prepared.
I think they've done a lot to mediate, less boosts, they said, and they're moving the traffic in different areas. So I think they've thought about it.
Lewistown's Chamber of Commerce Executive Director says the festival is simply too important to cancel.
I think all towns are really hurting because of COVID. This is just something that Lewistown needs, but I think it's also something Central Montana needs because people have expressed to me on multiple occasions that they just are looking for something to do.
Entertainment Director Charlie Dennison says the festival will have something for everyone.
This year the entertainment will be a little different. We're going to have it at the courthouse lawn. We have a little more of an opportunity to spread people out that way. We have a phenomenal list of local entertainers.
A potential cherry on top after all the hard work that has gone into this cherry festival. Now, in case you're wondering, because the festival is outside, masks are not required, but they are encouraged. For a full list of the festival's events, you can click on the link in this story on our website, KRTV.com. In Lewistown, Coulter Anstad, MTN News.
Across the country today, the tragic events of September 11th, 2001 are being remembered. Cemeteries in Great Falls have a new look in honor of 9/11. This morning, students decorated graves with 1,700 flags to honor those who lost their lives after the attacks. As MTN's Zach Shermley reports, it's a very special part of the program at Great Falls Public Schools.
Dozens of students in the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, or JROTC program in Great Falls Public Schools took to Highland Cemetery in Great Falls this morning to honor the fallen.
Follow me if you're not helping place flags.
30 cadets from Great Falls High School in CMR marked the 19th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, placing hundreds of flags on the graves of those who served in the aftermath.
Been quite an effort.
Many of them have only learned about 9/11 in history books or through their parents, but the significance of the day isn't lost.
I can understand the historical moment.
Caleb Hyde, a senior at CMR, wants to go into the military after high school.
And it means a lot to me to honor all of the veterans.
JROTC is a federally sponsored character development and citizenship program. With Malmstrom Air Force Base in Great Falls, the program hits close to home.
Many of you come from military families.
My dad is a Navy retired, so military means a lot to me when I came to the U.S.
Jamela Munsinger, also a senior at CMR, was born in the Philippines. She was adopted by a military family and raised here in the U.S. After college, she too hopes to pursue a career in the armed forces.
Those soldiers who died for their family and those who are going to go in service, their devotion to the country is very important. So that's what I would like to do too after college.
Turn on the TV nowadays, and it might seem like that reverence for those who have served our country is fading away. But on days like today, there's hope it will live on.
It's very important for us to remember and learn about it as a generation.
In Great Falls, Zach Shermley, MTN News.
Coming up, more from September 11th ceremonies across our area. From parks to virtual ceremonies, those stories are next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Welcome back. 19 years ago, our nation was rocked by an act of terrorism. Nearly 2 decades later, cities around the state took time to honor the fallen.
Since this year's honors were held virtually, MTN's Lindsay Hyatt attended for us.
This morning, Great Falls first responders gathered to remember a day they'll never forget. 19 years after 9/11 cost our country thousands of first responders, some of our own took time to honor their memory. Great Falls Fire Rescue's interim fire chief, Jeremy Jones, said that day changed the future, not only for our country, but for the men and women whose job it is to protect it.
9/11 is kind of where the name first responders came from. Before that, it was firefighters, firemen, policemen, police officers, all the different agencies that went to ground zero and searched for victims or tried to evacuate people before the towers collapsed. They all responded. And so that term kind of stuck.
As first responders direct their actions towards the community, they ask that the community directs their thoughts towards national unity.
With everything going on in our nation today, it's a better time than ever to remember the unity that we all achieved after such a tragic event.
Reporting in Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
Warm, dry conditions stay in our forecast for the weekend, but we talk about wildfire smoke moving in coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland.
Welcome back on this beautiful Friday evening where we're experiencing some warmer temperatures moving in. That high pressure we've talked about all week that's finally here has brought those 80s to the forecast for much of the High Line and for north central Montana. So places like Helena, Great Falls, all topping out in the mid 80s with those mid 80s in Havre as well. Still holding steady right below that 80-degree mark in the northeast corner, but all this warm air is going to really move into the rest of the state as we head through the rest of the weekend. So if you didn't hit the 80s today, there is a very good possibility you will be there by tomorrow afternoon. We've been all over the board these last 2 weeks with those temperatures though. From Monday, we are 25 degrees below average. We were on snow watch, and today we were above 7 degrees above average. So that average line right here, right in those mid to upper 70s this time of year, and we're going to be well above that as we head into the weekend, even climbing to the well above average stage, especially through Sunday afternoon as that high pressure builds in. So for tomorrow's forecast, slowly warming up to the 60s by 11 a.m. and then skyrocketing to those mid 80s by 4 p.m. So while we are out and about 10 a.m., perfect conditions, clear skies in the forecast, and then we're going to climb steadily into these 80s, and we're still going to see sunshine all day long, all because of this high pressure system we've been showing you for the week. This high pressure is going to start shifting over to our area. This ridge is a good indicator we've got some very stable conditions, very dry air moving in. It's also going to allow that wind to start shifting out of the southwest. That's going to continue pulling in that very warm air from our southwest, but it also is going to bring in something else. So while we may see sunshine, while we may see those 80s and even some 90s in the forecast, we're also going to see some wildfire smoke start to move back in, all because those major wildfires across Washington, California, Oregon, all that smoke in this upper air map shows that we are going to get basically a straight line to that smoke wrapping around this high pressure system, moving across our state. And we're going to get some fluctuating air qualities through the weekend. So don't be surprised if you definitely wake up Sunday morning to some very hazy conditions, even Saturday morning to those hazy conditions as this high pressure moves in, keeping us very stable. And looking out at Lookout Pass, where it's moving in from the southwest, it's going to be a little hazy out there this afternoon. This is a live look at a Lookout Pass. But as we progress through the weekend, more and more of that wildfire smoke is going to move in, creating some more lowered air quality and lowered visibility, especially up in those mountains. So if you are out and about, maybe hiking, sensitive to that wildfire smoke, maybe skipping the at least hike this weekend. Others are going to see a little bit of that smoke, a little sunshine mixed in. They're going to be in the 90s on Saturday afternoon. So really, really big warm up in store for us. Again, 40s in the forecast tonight, though. So looking even an extended forecast, there's a little more moisture slowly going to make its way in. That comes a little later next week as that ridge starts to break down, but we're still going to track some warmer than average conditions, definitely likely over the next 6 to 10 days for all of Montana. So over the next 3 days, again, that warm air is really climbing in, 86 on Monday. Then that ridge breaks down. That's when we're going to start seeing those clouds really build in. Monday afternoon, Tuesday, temperatures take a drop as well as cooler air and more moisture move into our forecast Tuesday and Wednesday. That moisture is also going to bring a few chances of isolated showers to the forecast for 3 days, that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mark. Until then, expect very warm and dry conditions this weekend and wildfire smoke even settling to valleys.
Still to come, it's Class AA football on the field tonight and what that means for Great Falls High and CMR next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Class AA football teams join the rest of Montana on the field tonight. Our Tom Wiley is at Memorial Stadium with a look at what Week 1 means for CMR and Great Falls High.
After all the uncertainty over the last couple of months, all the guidelines put in place for return-to-play protocols, all the haggling over spectator limits, both visiting fans and home fans, we finally made it, folks. It's week number 1 of the AA football seasons, and both teams are just excited to put on their jerseys and strap on the pads and face another team across the sideline.
You know, at first we thought that the extra 2 weeks of not having the region games were going to be a benefit for us, and overall it was. But then you're beating each other's heads in, you know, for 3 straight weeks, and you know, and injuries can happen there too. So we get guys a little bit banged up, you know, and so to come back out and actually be working on our purpose and play a game, we're just excited as can be.
I really see a mental. I can't exactly say the word, but there's a mental uplift in this program right now, where this is game week. You know, we went to practice Monday. These kids are looking forward to it. They've been waiting 6 months to compete.
Interesting storylines for both coaches. Of course, it's CMR. It's Dennis Morris's first year as head coach, looking for his first win tonight against Belgrade, and at Great Falls High, Mark Sampson and the Bison face a first-year program in the Gallatin Raptors. Interesting fact, the head coach of the Gallatin Raptors, Hunter Chandler, played for Coach Sampson at MSU Northern. There's some things to keep an eye on. Reporting from Memorial Stadium, Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
And for all of your scores and coverage from a full night of high school football, visit montanasports.com.
While nobody knows exactly how normal Halloween will be this year with all the COVID-19 restrictions, one thing is certain, people will buy or make costumes and dress up to celebrate. Well, you may be happy to hear the Spirit Halloween store is once again preparing to open in Great Falls. This year, it's being set up in the building that used to be Shopco along the Northwest Bypass. Signs went up this week and the website says the store will be open on Thursday, September 24th, which is just a few weeks later than usual. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Plenty of skies are going to be clear and dry this weekend. 85 on Saturday, and in north central Montana, 82 on Sunday. We're going to see a drop in temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday as clouds build in. That ridge breaks down. Isolated showers are in the forecast Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But until then, expect dry conditions and wildfire smoke to settle in this weekend.
Well, finally, the boss is back. The rock legend Bruce Springsteen returned with the E Street Band this week with the single Letter to You. That song will be the title track of Springsteen's 20th album that will be released next month. The album features 9 new songs and 3 previously unreleased tracks. Springsteen says he and the band recorded the album in 5 days and described it as one of the best experiences he's ever had. We'll see you at 10.